At the beginning of the chapter, we see Clee Strange fighting against someone. She says to that man that she was the sorcerer supreme of this world and that she was far more ruthless than the last one. She asks the man who is he to tell her what she can do and what she can't. The man looks at her and says that his name was the Harvestman and he will not allow Clee to resurrect Stephen Strange back from the dead. In the morning of that day, someone knocks at Clee's place and her dog Akka Bats starts to bark at the door. Clee tells Bats to stop barking. Bats apologizes to Clee. Clee says to herself that she has to make a haunted suit of armor that will be responsible for opening the door. The other person keeps on knocking at the door. Because of this, Clee gets angry, and she shouts that she is opening the door. As she was moving towards the door, Clee opens the door and sees Victor Von Doom standing at the door. Clee looks at him and thinks about the haunted suit of armor. Victor asks him what was she thinking about, to which Clee says that he should better come inside as she has neighbors, and if they see him they will get scared. She asks Victor if he would like to have a cup of coffee, and says that although the coffee of this dimension was trash, she thinks that Victor is already used to drinking it. Victor says no to her. Then Clee asks the reason because of why he was there. Victor says that this was just a courtesy visit, and as Stephen Strange was dead, Victor was here to get the title of Sorcerer Supreme as well as the Cloak of Levitation and the Eye of Agamotto. Clee says no and that it belonged to her husband, Stephen Strange, and now it belongs to her. Dr. Doom in anger says that's not how it is supposed to work. He says that Stephen couldn't just hand them to a woman. Clee smirks and says that Stephen did, and here she was. Victor calls Clee mad, on which she gets up and says to him that she is angry because she has been widowed twice in just a week. She further says to Doom that she belongs to the race known as Flatline. They don't have any family name, and because of this, it was appropriate for her to take the things that belonged to her husband. Then she smiles and says to Dr. Doom that there was still a Strange alive on Bleecker Street and that Strange is still the Sorcerer Supreme. Dr. Doom in anger says that he will not just stand still in the face of this trickery. Clee warns him and says that he should not forget. Who is he standing in front of? Dr. Doom in anger conjures a spell and says that he will not accept being talked to like this. Clee at once gets ready to fight and yells that she will also not be talked to like this in her place. She says that she never wished for this power, and that it was Stephen's last wish despite the service of this world. She further says that because of Stephen's last wish, Victor Von Doom will never become the Sorcerer Supreme. Victor tries to threaten her by saying that the Vishanti will hear about this. Clee in anger tells Doom to go and cry in front of Vishanti. She says that Stephen fought the War of the Seven Spheres for Vishanti, and he did it for 5,000 years. She says to Doom that he thinks that Vishanti will not respect Stephen's last wish, or does he thinks that they will listen to Victor Von Doom's cry. Victor Von Doom did nothing when the warlords attacked the Earth, or when the three mothers and Peregrine's child were destroying everything. She says that she wonders who will the Vishanti listen to. Doom runs out of the place, and while running he says to Clee that it was not over. Soon, Wong comes there and he asks Clee if that is Victor, who was running out of the place. Clee says that she has hurt his feelings, and Wong says that he wishes that he would have been here to see that. Clee tells him that Victor was underestimating her, and he was trying to take the title of Sorcerer Supreme from her. She further says that he will be back. Clee looks at Wong and says to him that he was in a bad shape. Wong tells her that he was in a bar with no doors, so he doesn't know if he was there at night or in the morning. He has just been drinking as he was hurt. Clee says to him that he has been drinking quite a lot, but Wong says that he is still hurt and feels like he has drunk far too little. Clee says to him that they both need coffee and says that the coffee of Earth was not good. She wants a dark dimension roast coffee. She tells him that they will go out to buy it. Wong tells her that there was a goblin market nearby and that they will be able to get black dimension coffee from there. Clee says that's perfect, and then she uses magic to change her clothes. Wong says that she was rather in a good mood today. Clee tells him that when she put Victor back in his place it did wonders for her mood, but the grief was still there. And she worries that if she gives in, the grief will kill her. So she has decided to focus on getting them both out of it. She says that she will bring Stephen back from the dead. Wong says that normally it was his duty to try to stop Sorcerer Supreme from doing such things. Clee says to him that he shouldn't bother to try to stop her. She was from the race of Flatline. She was not human. Her mother was the warlord Humor and her uncle is Dormammu. She has the blood of warlords in her, and she will always get what belongs to her. And Stephen Strange belongs to her. She will not let anyone stop her from getting Stephen back, not even death itself. Wong says all right, and asks her what they need to do. Clee says that she hasn't come up with any plan so far because she thought it would take longer to convince Wong. Wong says to her that he was already hurt quite badly and he was not able to stop her even if he wants to. Then he takes her to the Shrouded Bazaar. Clee couldn't believe that such a place existed in New York. A place that and full of many different life forms, including elves, ogres, goblins, dwarfs, etc. Clee looks around and asks Wong who is in charge of this place. Wong says that he doesn't know. The dwarf who was the owner of the shop where Klee and Wong were browsing says that they are in charge of themselves. He says that it was a free bazaar. Many people tried to take over this place in the past, but no one was able to do so. He further says that Blasphemy Cartel also tried yesterday, but they were not able to do so, and he says that they will never come back. But at that time, Blasphemy Cartel men come there and start shooting everyone. In the shootout, the dwarf gets killed and Klee in anger says that she will allow this. The Blasphemy Cartel men see the indication on their devices and say that it was not possible that the Sorcerer Supreme was here because Strange is already dead according to their intels. Klee comes there and says that there was still a Strange alive. The Blasphemy Cartel men shoot at her and Klee says that they were well prepared if they were against witches or some lowly mages. They would have won but not in front of her. Then she easily kills most of them. One of the men throws a Solomon grenade at her, and from that grenade, a demon emerges. But Klee easily kills it, and while the last man was trying to escape, she comes there and says to him that she will not allow him to escape, and she kills him. Back at her place, Wong asks Klee about their plan of bringing Steven back. Bats asks Klee that was she able to do that. Klee says that she will do it. Wong then says to Klee that it's better not to get their hope up so soon. If it was possible, it will still take a lot of work. Klee asks Wong how many of Steven's friends came back from the dead. Wong says that it seems that all of them have come back to life. Klee then says that they should keep this thing in mind. Steven might just come back from the dead on his own. Then Klee shows him a spell and says that she has put this spell all around the city, and that if anyone tries to perform necromancy, they will find it out. Wong says to her that he thinks that Klee is keeping her hope way too high, and that it was something unrealistic. Klee says that as Sorcerer Supreme and dealing with unrealistic is her job. Wong says that he can't argue with that. Klee then suggests to Wong that they should contact Steven's friends that he brought back to life. Maybe they will find some useful information from them. Wong asks her that has she contacted the Avengers. He says that the Avengers would want to know how to contact the new Sorcerer Supreme in a time of need. Klee says that she will do that tomorrow and asks Wong if he looks somewhat disturbed and what was on his mind. Wong says that it was because of Blasphemy Cartel. He says that they were very well prepared for all this, and she killed them. Wong further says that Steven wouldn't have done that. Klee says that she was not Steven and it was still too kind for them. If they were in a dark dimension, she would have done much more. Wong yells at him and says that she was now on Earth, and that she was the Sorcerer Supreme and she must act like one. But soon Wong sees something and asks Klee if that was her spell. Klee turns around and sees it. She says that it was. She says that someone was crossing over to the realm of the living and she rushes out. Wong says to her that she doesn't know if it was Steven, but Klee says that it must be him. It has to be. Klee rushes to the place where someone was passing over and sees an undead coming out of the portal. She asks if it was Steven, but at that moment, the harvestman comes there and attacks the undead with a thunder strike. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.